Have you ever been gaming or working online classes and your internet service constantly gets interrupted? First Nations Fiber is about to ensure that just won't happen again. Get ready for high speed at a new level. Click on fnfiber.com and sign up today. First Nations Fiber, empowering people through connectivity.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Beading Table with your host, Degaruhyakwa Margaret Standup, and myself, Leith Makiwa. Hello, everybody, and we hope you're having a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, all of the above. Today we have a episode full of some very interesting questions and comments from our audience. And before we get started with those, we always like to do a little check-in to see how everybody's doing. So, Margaret, how are you? You had a few things you want to chat about.
I'm good. I don't know. Oh my God. So I'm sorry. I have to laugh. People don't get to see the behind the scenes and how many times sometimes it takes us to just get this going. And
sometimes I call it the wrong podcast name.
And I laugh while she's like trying to talk and whatever. So, yeah. So I don't remember where I was going. Oh, yeah. So no, just a few check-ins. My Wednesday night ladies. Oh yeah, my classes. So what are we today? Friday, 2 nights ago was my last class with my beading ladies. Oh, I'm gonna miss them. It was a good class.
How long was it?
20, well, more.
28.
It was supposed to be 20 weeks, but it went longer.
Oh my goodness, that's a long class.
They started in September.
Oh my goodness, that's good.
Yeah.
And so what was it you were teaching them?
They did graduation outfits. Mm-hmm. So I picked 8 students.
Oh, these are the ones who you had to apply.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We ended up with 7 in the end, and it was like half and half. So 4 were doing, I think, girls, and 3 ended up doing boy sets kind of thing. So, but yeah, it was really fun. It was a long process. They did so well. They dedicated, every week and every day basically, because they had homework. So they had to beat on their own time too. But yeah, most of them, I can't say that they were fully completed on Wednesday, but it's like finishings now. Like they're, they have like their edging done, just half of their yoke and things like that. So, but no, it was so fun, and it became like a fun group. Like I looked forward to it every week. Like we were always joking, everyone's laughing, and like
having a good time.
Yeah, and it worked out. Like I didn't really think of people's relationships. Like when you pick people or you have people in your class, you just hope that it drives, and it did. Like people within the group all have their own relationships outside of beading. So it like really was like cohesive, and everyone got along, and it was fun. So yeah, they're done. We just keep joking like, what are we gonna do now on Wednesdays? Like, that was our whole winter together. So that, and what else was an update? Oh, the vertigo.
Oh yes, how is that?
I finally saw. So it's like been a month and a half since I see that it started or whatever. It's pretty much good. Like it's been okay. I did still have like a little bit going on, but it's positional basically. It's only if I do certain things to my neck or my head. And I finally got to see the specialist yesterday, and it was
that the one through your osteopath that you had said that
he recommended her. She was so good. She was really, really good. Like she broke everything down for me. She showed me like little dioramas almost of like how it works. Like we think like, because they always say like, oh, the crystal's in your ear. It's actually not in your ear. There's like these little weird tubes. You have 6 of them in your head, in like your skull kind of. So anyway, it's hard to explain it, so I won't, but she just showed me how it all worked, and the functions of it all, and like where she believes it's off, I guess, in my head. So yeah, so she like dipped me and threw me backwards. And
to like shake them back into place?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, you have to like guide them back in. So, and she has to induce the feeling. So she would put me backwards. Like I was laying on a table, and she put pillows behind like kind of my upper back. And she had me like, I had to hold on to her and everything. And she held my back, and she like lowered me backwards. So I was like kind of arched over the pillows. backwards. And the weird thing about it is that I can feel it, I guess, but I don't notice it. But there's something that happens with your eyes.
Okay.
Like they flutter.
When when you're getting a vertigo situation?
So obviously I can't see it because I'm not looking at my eyes. So, and you don't notice it. I don't notice it in my vision. So she was watching. So as she tipped me backwards, like first reaction is you want to just close your eyes because it's like everything's spinning, you know, like, and it's weird. Like everything's in place, but it's not. It's this weird whatever. And she's like, you have to keep your eyes open.
Because she has to watch you, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, okay. So it was like I was on a ride. Like the whole damn room was just going like everywhere. And she's just watching me and she can see it because as I'm feeling it, like it's slowing down, I'm like, okay, the ride's stopping now. She can see my eyes are starting to slow down. They're not fluttering and like moving back and forth as fast. So she had to do that 3 times.
Well, she's doing it and like from the first time to the third time, is there like something is something happening? Like, is it less time for you to get back to?
It's less
to like, no, I guess normal or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's because like, well, she had me like do that one motion and then she had to roll me over the other way and then sit up and keep my head down. Like I said, it's hard to explain. Like if I had a diorama, it's easier to show kind of thing. So I'm not going to try to explain it on air, but it's just to get all these little particles, basically. It's almost like sand that goes into this little tube and it shouldn't. It's supposed to be embedded in the base of your skull, basically. Okay. And sometimes it gets loose and it goes into these tubes.
Interesting.
And it sends all these like nerve endings to say you're moving when you're not type of thing. So that's basically what it is. And the more she did it, we're putting all that sand, I guess, back into its place. So I have to still do that motion. It's called the Epley maneuver. Epley, whatever. I have to still do it at home for a week. Even she said, even if you feel better, like just keep doing it. It's just to make sure everything's back in place. And I have to do this other weird thing where I have to look at my thumbs and I have to turn. And it's kind of weird because when I'm doing it, like Leith is trying it right now and I'm doing it. But if I continue to do it, everything starts to spin around me.
Really?
Yeah. So it messes me up a little bit still.
Is it because like you're concentrating on your hands, but then your body's moving at the same time?
It's it's like something with your eyes and that sand crap or whatever. But it's almost you have to retrain your body to refocus. I think there's like
something is happening.
Yeah. Because even if all the sand is back, I think you still have to retrain your mind, your eyes or your vision. Because even that, like I was reading and I didn't think it was anything. Well, I guess it was something. But like as I'm reading, my eyes would like almost skip, if I can say that. I don't know how to describe it, where it's like as if I'm like looking at a word and then it's like my eyes literally like swirl and skip to like another sentence and then go right back to where I was reading. And I was like,
oh, okay.
What the hell? Like it was just weird. Like they would jump. Like my vision would jump and I was looking, I don't know how to describe it. But I just thought, oh, well, that just happens. And she's like, oh, does it do this? Or does like the page move or do the words move when you're reading? I'm like, well, yeah, I guess kind of. She's like, oh, okay then. I was like, oh, I didn't realize. So yeah, vertigo will mess with your vision and all that. So it was actually really cool and informative and whatever. And so I have to see her though again in 2 weeks just for follow-ups. But yeah, I do recommend her. I really, I want to recommend her more, but then I'm like, but also I don't want to clog up her.
I know there's other osteopaths or naturopaths that people see from the community, and people can't get appointments with those people because they're so popular.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened with Theo at Kinetics. He's the
I was trying not to say the name.
Oh, well, he's already clogged up now. It's like if he's
clogged up. I might have to go see somebody.
But yeah, it's like almost impossible. Well, not impossible, but it takes long. It takes long to see him.
She's just laughing because I was trying to have a piece of ice and I realized we're taping, so it's not really good to be chewing on ice on the air. I was like, I just spit it back out of my cup. It wasn't the greatest thing, but yeah. Well, that's good. I'm really glad to hear that the vertigo is subsiding. Yeah,
me too.
Okay. Yeah. And then Wednesday night, well, I'm having a class starting in 2 Wednesdays, I think. In 2 Wednesdays, yeah. I know I'm having a center seam class through the cultural center. They're having their cultural awareness month, and I think maybe a month and a half, maybe over a month ago, I guess I was asked to if I wanted to have a class, and I was like, yeah, sure, I don't mind, I guess. Very apprehensive, of course. And then I guess it was last week, must have been Friday. I guess it came out, but I didn't know. I didn't know when it was coming out. And then I was like, one of my friends I was hanging out with that whole day, towards the end of the day, says, "Hey, why didn't you tell me you were having a class?" I'm like, I didn't know it was like public.
Like, am I? No.
But I actually did say, like, what are you talking about? And then she said, "Oh, your class, your moccasin class." And I said, I didn't even realize they were like doing it, like putting it out for the public. And she goes, "You should have told me." And then another person was, and then they didn't get in because they were so late. And I guess it went really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was curious, of course, of who got in, because it's just a blind, like whoever gets in,
true,
it's like first come, first serve, right? So I was
You don't do the signups, yeah.
Yeah, and thankfully I didn't do the signups. It's just one thing, it's easier that way. And then, so I, of course, called. I asked, I texted and say, "Hey, who's in the class?" Because I would like to know.
Yeah.
And then I just said, "Oh, is there a waiting list?" And they said, "Yeah, it's longer than the actual amount of people who are even in the class, like double, if not more." And I'm like, "Oh, okay then." So I know some people were saying like, "Hey, can I have another class?" And I was just like, well, first I have to learn how to teach myself how to teach that class. Yeah. So I'll be doing that this weekend and next weekend, just trying to
go through the motions.
Yeah, try to do it. I taught my daughter 2 weeks ago how to do senior seam moccasins. She's doing a project for school, like a movie kind of project. So we did that. So we were taping. So she was taping me how I did it and different things like that.
Yeah, that's when I walked in. I had that story. You scared me. I was like, oh my God.
What are you doing here? Yeah. So we did that. And then we're going to do that this weekend too, because she wants to put cuffs on her moccasins. So we're going to do that. So it was interesting because she was I don't want to say never, but when she was younger, she dabbled in like beadwork and everything like that. And she's sewn a skirt here and there, but nothing she always just says like it's not necessarily like her focus, in terms of like sometimes it's difficult to focus and have the patience for that. So when she said, "Oh yeah, she wanted to learn how to do some kind of beadwork," and I said, "Well, you could do moccasins. It's one of the easiest things to make." She was like, "Yeah," but then for somebody who knows how to do it,
yeah,
it's not hard. For somebody who doesn't necessarily, well, obviously, if you don't know how, it'd be difficult. But even like people's hand coordination too, sometimes is different.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit challenging. But once she got it, she was fine.
Yeah.
And she did her both moccasins and stuff. And so it was just pulling it.
Yeah.
And what happened is I pulled that thread and it rips. And I was like, "Oh, we got to do it again." She's like, "What?" I go, "We got to do it again." And here we go. And then what I don't do normally is I have patterns for people that I know are tried and true, and I have their footprints. So if I have a footprint of somebody and they put it on this other footprint, then I know like, okay, this will fit you for sure. Or I just make a custom one and then I have them try it on. So I was doing it like just like willy-nilly with my daughter. And then I cut one side and it was like small, tight, like, fine, because it's leather. But then the other one it looks like it's a totally different size, but they both fit her, which is really strange.
Yeah.
So I don't want that happening at the class. So I really have to try to hone in on that. I think that's like the
breakdown of it all.
Yeah. And really trying to articulate to I can't even get the words out, the students, what it is. And I don't have a hard time speaking Ganyegeha a lot of times. It's the English part now I'm having a little bit of a hard time.
To break it down. Yeah, to phrase it.
The majority of what I speak at school is Ganyegeha, so it's a little bit easier that way. And because I've never had to teach the actual art of beadwork or anything, it's getting that connection between what I know to do with my hands and verbally describe it for somebody else to actually understand it so that they can do it themselves. That's like,
Yeah, I get it. Like the first few times I had started classes, I was like, oh my God, there's a language to this. Like there's a breakdown, there's a language, it's different. Like if you're not doing it, you don't know it. And I was like, because I was just like, okay, well, you're going to do this and you're going to, and like
gluing on glue, like putting glue on. Like, yeah, you're going to glue it. Well, then, but there's so many things you got to know to glue.
Yeah. Or I was like, okay, well, the puckers, or okay, you're going to, and they're like, well, what are puckers, or what are the lines, what are the pucker marks? And so I was like, oh shit. So every little thing I had to dissect and but I know what you mean too about the functions. Like there was something now that I learned the hard way a little bit in one of the classes, when I do the moccasin, like regular pucker or whatever, I never specified, like, when you come into class, like, I usually say, well, at the time I didn't. I just said come or whatever, and they could make their own. So I said, you just need a foot tracing if you're doing it for somebody else. So somebody came in with her granddaughters.
So it was a small child.
It was a small child, like an infant child, and she had never done them before. And I was like, oh shit, like, it's so much harder to hold
a small thing.
Yeah. And especially if you don't know how to
hold manipulate
it.
that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So she was poor. I had to do it for her in the end. She couldn't, it was too fine. It was too small for her to learn on, like, so yeah, I get it. Like,
it's like fidgety, eh? Like you're trying to, your thumb, like even like, and I would assume like the older you get, because I feel like too, you can feel your thumbs like not moving as the
like
lubrication between your things. They're just not doing it. It's kind of like
hard for like adult pair, and then to try to do a little one, you're like, ooh, you got like claw hands, like my strong hand. So yeah, it was. It was, but I get it, and it is you kind of only learn those things as you go, and then you're like, oh, okay, there's something I have to like break down or whatever. Yeah, the fun of it all.
Yeah, so we'll see. So this is like the first class I had since I think I taught in Oneida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. That's a lot. 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. I don't often. I said some people are made to, or some artists are able to teach, and some artists are just make art. I think I'm going to try to dabble into this. And if it goes well, then who knows? Maybe I'll help in our class. But yeah, so.
Cool.
So maybe you could swing by if you want to next on the Wednesday.
I do.
And you can go be my helper, and you can just bring your own stuff.
Oh my God, yes. No.
By the time this comes out, the class will have already started. And then we can complain about it, and then I'll just ask about it, though, for sure. I'll just say, I want to help somebody to come with me.
Oh my God, yes. I'm going to double check my schedule, but yes.
It's Wednesday nights. I think it's from 6 to 8. Not long.
Yay!
And there's 3 classes, 6 hours, so hopefully people do their homework, I guess. I don't know. But I don't, we'll see what happens. Cool. Anyway, so that's what's happening for me.
And now for me.
And now for you. Oh my goodness, yes, today I went to a class. I work at a school, obviously. And I went to a little class, and this little kid he's looking at me, sitting right next to me on the carpet, and he's looking at me, and my hair's pulled back, and he goes, "You old lady." And I'm like, "What?" He goes, "I see those gray hairs." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "I see their gray hairs. You're already an old lady." And then I took my glasses off and put them in between my legs so they wouldn't obviously get ruined or anything. And then I went to go put my hair down. And then this other boy was sitting. I don't know if he must have not seen me take my glasses off, but he was sitting behind the other kid, but not really on the side, like just on the side of him. Mm-hmm. And he looked over. I guess he was, because we were laughing about the old lady comment. And then he's like, "Your glasses. You don't even look the same." And I was like, "What?"
You're like, "Leave me alone now."
And so then what I did is I put all my hair over, because when I have my hair up, obviously anybody sees me anywhere, I have a lot of gray hair. But if I put my hair down and right by my face, it kind of hides the gray. And then he goes, "You're not fooling nobody. I can see the gray hair." And then he pulls my hair back. He goes, "They're still there. God, you're still an old lady." And I was just like, it was so crazy. He was only in kindergarten, but it's just cute. Yeah.
Kids,
yeah. So it was just funny. One of those things. I was just like, yeah. And then I tried to get up, and then I hurt my knee somehow. And I was like, that kid is right. He's pegged me already. He already knows my number. He's got my number. So yeah. Oh, I wanted to say that I won a raffle.
Yes. Oh my God. I was like, hey, and I meant to write to you to be like, "Hi, like you got it."
Well, it was that same day. So that same day? No, it was the day at the Longhouse, or maybe it was a Friday. I can't remember which day it was. But no, it must have been that Friday. We had we did a presentation, and we had an event, my research group, and I got home, and it was like 9:00 or whatever, and I was just finally getting to whatever I had to do. Oh, we had a social that night. We're just getting to whatever I had to do, and I saw somebody had tagged me, and I was just like, whatever, because there was that thing on Instagram where it was like tag your artist, whatever kind of thing, your shout outs or whatever, and so I was like, it must be just that, no big deal. And then somebody said somebody wrote me like, "Congratulations," inboxed me. I was like, "Congratulations on what? What's going on here?" I don't know. I thought maybe I had to do my presentation. We had a good one or whatever. So then I went to scroll my phone to see, and then that Monique Paulus, she said she tagged me in her raffle, and so I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I was so glad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was happy about that. I don't often win, and then of course my son saw the cuffs, and he's like, Oh, I could wear those at graduation. I said, yeah, you
Naming
could,
them.
but not the purse because I got rid of, because I gave some purses away.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'll have one. So it's like kind of interesting how I gave them away and now I got one for myself. So that was good.
Cute.
Yeah. So we have some questions. I'm not sure if we want to maybe we could get into the audience questions first, and then maybe go to these other ones that we had. We had a lot of like overflow from last time because we had a lot of questions. Some of the questions we couldn't actually get on the day, and I think there might be another one. But the first question is, have you heard of no sewing or beading during pregnancy? My family says that because of the umbilical cord. So have you ever heard anything like that? Because I have.
Yes, I have too.
And your thoughts? If any?
I don't want to bash. I'm not bashing at all, but like I'm not.
Oh, I think you had mentioned that before. Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to dismiss or anything like that because, you know, everyone has their own beliefs and things like that. But I tend to try not to. It's not that what I forget how I was going to say it. It's not. The hell is it called? Not old wives' tale.
It's not something that you follow.
Yeah. I don't really, you know, I try to steer away from those kind of things because I find after a while, if you take on so many, you restrict yourself so much. And a lot of it becomes fear-based because you're afraid something might happen. And since I have anxiety, I try to like not add more to my life.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
So in the framework of my brain, I just try to steer clear of some of those kind of beliefs and whatever, like, and not like I said, like not discrediting anybody who does, like that's everyone has their own kind of their own beliefs and stuff like that, but I don't know.
You don't follow those necessarily.
I don't.
Okay. So I was just going to say that, I had heard of that. I don't think I've never followed that one specifically just because I find that to be a very creative time for me. And I'd never heard that. But while I was pregnant, my husband did have some things to say, like, you know, like you shouldn't like stand in the doorway. So I didn't stand in the doorway, or what else was there? The door, like don't cross your legs, like that, those kind of things. Or when you go to do like walk up the stairs, walk all the way up, don't like stop halfway, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then there's another one. What else? Yeah, but nothing like I never followed the ones with the sewing part. I always sewed just because.
I just find because there's so many that sometimes it's kind of like that. It's so restricting. And I do remember when I was pregnant for my son, the one about don't wear a necklace. And because like I said, it's like it becomes fear-based. So it's like after a while I was terrified because I'm like, well, if something happens then it's going to be my fault. You know, those kind of things.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, no.
You're right. Yeah, I get it. I totally understand.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm choosing not to believe in these things just for my own sanity.
Yeah.
You know, like everything can cause something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, why am I adding to this list? You know? So yeah, I try not to. Of course, there probably are some that I'm like, oh shit, you know, but whatever. But yeah, I try to question them, like logically, I guess. That's kind of how I had to look at it. But
and the same thing, like, you know, like it wasn't just me. Like my husband obviously didn't do like certain things just because I was pregnant too. So
yeah. Because and it is like we do have beliefs as well. So some of them are important to, you know, follow or think of or consider. And, you know, so for me, it was just like that, you know, give and take type of thing. Yeah. What worked for me and what didn't work for me.
And I think that's basically what all really we can say is like, if it works for you, then work that, you know, and if it doesn't, then that's your choice too. So but that was one of the things. Let's see. There are some, let's look at the inspired ones. Okay. So here's one. Okay. So, there's a few. There's like 4 on a page here. So I'm just trying to read them and they're kind of long. So I just want to make sure that I get the right one that will. Okay. How do you feel about the resurgence of beadwork among younger generations?
I think that's great.
Now, I don't know if the person who's writing this is of what the age is, because we could be the younger generation.
Or we're the older generation. What do I think of it?
Yes.
I think it's great. Like that's what we want, don't we?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like that's what people fought so hard to bring those things back. So we want that to continue.
Yeah, I think that's totally true.
Yeah.
And I think that, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's like kind of like, well, not kind of, it is like a form of empowerment. Like you said, like all this fighting from generations past and just being able to like be proud of who you are and just make something with their hands. Like a lot of times, well, I think there's a resurgence just because everyone is trying to get back to, I wouldn't necessarily say a simpler kind of life. Some people are, but also people are, I think, realizing that we rely so much on technology and different things like that, and we're always really rushing. That's why, like, you see a resurgence like of puzzles and different things in the wintertime because it's like more of a downtime.
Yeah.
And so I think people are now like even like making that artisanal bread. I mean, obviously because of COVID and all those other things, people like kind of like reevaluated how they want to like live their lives, and some people want to just actually get back to doing something like maybe their grandparents did or whatnot. And I think that's really good too, because it really does awaken and help to inspire you to just take time for yourself and just be creative. Like, like my son, he had to be off electronics for, I think all week. He was all off electronics almost. Something happened and it was just like, hey man, like your attitude's stinky. You can't have this. You can't do this. And so he's playing with Lego and he's doing other things. And we notice when we say no electronics, he starts to get creative again. He's playing.
Yeah.
And he's 11. He doesn't need to be just glued to the television. Sometimes sometimes it's easier to have them be on there for a little while just to give you some peace, and not peace in terms of like they're bothering or harassing you, but just something. Yeah. Just so maybe I could veg and just take a break too, like, so. Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, I think it's great. With that, how do you navigate the balance between maintaining traditional techniques? This is a question. Traditional techniques and exploring contemporary forms or imagery.
So let's break it down first. Okay. What's a traditional technique?
Well, I would leave that up to the person who's answered the question, because this does not say, it just says, how do you navigate the balance between maintaining traditional techniques? What is your definition of traditional techniques? As she looks at me all wide-eyed and deer in the headlights.
Traditional techniques. I
don't know. I don't know what that is.
Beading? Of art? Of beading? Like beading?
Yeah.
So
it says maintaining traditional techniques and exploring contemporary forms or imagery. I would say like it's contemporary form right off the bat would be like imagery, like Jamie Okuma and her things she makes. Like she made that cradle board and there was the Godzilla on it, and Lucille Ball, and then she made those. Just recently she made just recently she made this. She's very into horror story, like horror films. I'm not into that at all. So, but like these actresses who were in this movie, and she depicted them on the bag. And then last year she did like these two rabbits standing side by side, but all traditionally dressed. So I think like that's more contemporary. Okay, and then sometimes the bag itself has like spikes on it, something you wouldn't see necessarily traditionally in that sense. But it's the beadwork form is, because you see it how it was done traditionally, is very similar, like the techniques they're doing. So the technique is the same, but it's
venturing into something.
I would assume that's my interpretation of that art form.
Well, I think of what's her name, Arla Lucia, or is that how you pronounce her last name?
I don't know. I met her and I don't know.
I don't know if it's like Lucia or Lucia. Anyways, but yes, I look at her work where it's.
And she's from New Mexico. She's on Instagram if anybody's looking for some.
Yeah, check out her work. It's beautiful. But I look at hers too, where it's slightly goes into a contemporary.
Yeah, it's very contemporary.
Yeah, but it's still traditional in a sense where you'd have to see it, but she does raised beadwork.
And then she does a 3D.
Yeah, but it's that 3D. So now it's like going into an art form now, because now it's sculpted and it's wearable jewelry, and it's so I kind of, I get it. Like that's, I see what's.
But the technique that she's doing, the actual beadwork part, I don't know if that would be even called traditional, because we do that. Is that traditional? I don't know. Is traditional just the flat work? I don't know. Yeah. See, it's just a kind of,
Yeah, I don't know how to break down.
We're just saying a lot of I know, is because I don't.
What was the question again?
It says, how do you navigate the balance between maintaining traditional techniques and exploring contemporary forms of imagery. I think you need the traditional techniques
To be
of
able
the
to
art
go
form
anywhere,
to do
yeah.
anything. So you have to maintain, you have to have it front and center.
Yeah, I think that's like your start point basically always. If you're going to, you have to have that grounds first
Yep.
to be able to either stay within that realm or to go contemporary or to do whatever else, so to
Yeah.
keep the balance of it. I think it's based off of the artist as well. Like if they want to keep a balance, like, because some people will go completely contemporary, like what you're saying, where they have the foundations of what they've learned, but it's taken on a whole different art form now.
Yeah.
Where it's in a whole different realm. So
Like I think about Jessica's bag, that like more like
Yeah.
pyramid bag, like as a contemporary form. But the techniques she used were all techniques you would use to make anything. Like if you made a
yoke or
yoke or a picture frame, that kind of stitching and things, you would use those kind of things.
yeah.
Actually, the form of it is totally different. So you have to think of it, but so anyway, it's interesting.
Yeah.
So that's our question. Our answer is it's interesting. So we had what is the most important thing for this is a good one. What is the most important thing for the public to understand about the value of handmade, authentic Ungwehueneha beadwork? And I didn't say indigenous, I said Ungwehueneha because
we're talking on our own.
yeah. So what is the most important thing for the public to understand about the value of
It's
handmade?
the hours, like that's the value of it all, is the hours, the not just the hours put into the actual piece, but all of the back hours that it took that artist to learn the techniques that they're doing. It's not, machine reproduced. It's not, that kind of thing. So it's, I feel like we've gone on to this before, but it's like, just like for me, it's always like you go back to it. Like if people don't appreciate it, then they have to try it first before they can really understand the amount of work involved in these techniques. And then even when people start, like I've had it so many times in classes where it's like people are beginners and they do it and they're beading. And then they get discouraged because it doesn't look like somebody else's beading for 20 years or something like that. You know what I mean? So all of that also has to be taken into account, to have your art where you want it to be. It takes time and it takes practice,
Lots of practice, yeah.
So those are things that people, really have to take into account. But it's hard because if they don't know, they don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can tell them, but they still may not have an appreciation if they don't do it. Yeah. I don't know if I answered that question.
I think so. I said what the most important thing to know is that people have to, they have to understand that not everything will look the same.
Yeah,
even,
it's all one of a kind.
It's all one of a kind. And even maybe that, even though you try to do your rope stitch so straight, it might flare off a little bit. And you might be like, you know what, that's fine.
Yeah.
And that's just how it's going to be. Or maybe one band might look a little bit different, or one cuff might be a little bit longer and you'll never know. But the maker will know. So things aren't perfect, of course. And I think that...
And it's if you look at it too, if in a different aspect, like... When people look at designer and, whatever, like if you think of like watches, like those handcrafted watches or things that were done like a long time ago where there's, a craftsman made them and they would charge millions of dollars for them now to do something like that.
Yeah.
If somebody was doing it by hand, it's the exact same thing. You have to break it down or look at it in different aspects. Like where else would it match up? And people will buy Louis Vuitton, you can, whatever, all those things. And even that is mass produced to a certain extent.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just knowing those things. And
And I think it's also important that if you're able to have a conversation with the person who's making those things, that's good and important to know. Like that you're able to ask if you're really curious and you really want to purchase or whatever it is, whatever relationship you want to have with the artist, it's important to ask them. Like what's going on, like, or what can I understand from your work or something. Not having to worry about just assuming something. So we had a lot. I don't want to talk about this, but so we had a lot of people write to us, and here's a question that I got. It says, I'd love to hear your thoughts on who gets to claim or practice certain types of styles of beadwork within the Confederacy.
Let me breathe. I had that drink and it has caffeine in it. Now I'm all jazzed up.
You had this one already?
I drank mine. Yeah. I
sorry.
chugged it, but now I'm like, ugh. So what's your answer? So this
I don't know. It's a very
post.
It's a very slippery slope.
It is, and I want to answer this in the most respectful way possible because I'm not trying to, it's all based off opinions, basically. Yeah. So I don't have the answer for that question, to be honest, because I don't know who does have a right to claim anything within the Confederacy to say this is, this is stemming from a post that was made. I'm not going to name names, but it was posted a few weeks ago. So we are a little bit late to the game here talking about it.
But people inbox us.
Yeah, repeatedly. Yeah. So it was basically posted saying how it was an opinion based off of somebody feeling that only Seneca women should do Seneca purses, historical purses, I believe it was. And it did kind of get a lot of people's backs up. I'm not going to lie. When I read it, I had a knee-jerk reaction where I was like, what in the hell? There were a lot of discussions on it, I guess. Like, I talked to a few people and we just chit-chatted about it. And I think a lot of people had that same reaction, like, who decides, who gets to say that you shouldn't do this or I shouldn't do this or, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It pissed me off at first. It did piss me off. But then I had to ask myself, like, okay, let's break it down. Yeah. Let's look at it, in different ways. Because
it doesn't belong to any person.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that,
but it doesn't just, but then if we say that, then just anybody can do it. Then we're saying no, like, you know what I mean? Like those people, like that's true though. Like, like if you say, yeah, it doesn't belong to one person, but also what's false is just anybody can do it. Cause we all know that's not true.
Yeah.
And anybody who's Haudenosaunee will say the exact same thing, or anybody or any other nation, if they have something that people within their collective nation, right? Or their nationhood or their sister communities or whatever you want to call it, or their confederacy as we are, know that not everybody can just do any kind of thing that we're doing. So, but it doesn't belong to any specific person.
Yeah. I think that's what
Hopefully
was...
understand that, like it's not... Yeah.
So I'm trying to word this the best way I can without being crazy. So it kind of part of it was not wrong and part of it felt wrong. Okay. In a sense to me. And I got that same sense from a lot of people. For me, I kind of felt, the first knee-jerk reaction, and a lot of other people had that, was the person in question that was named in this post or whatever, is Seneca, but also does raised beadwork. And when you broke down the whole post, it was saying, other nations shouldn't do these types of purses. But other people wrote, they're in the comments, I was following that thread, and other people were saying, well, you're asking us not to do this, but you are doing our historical stuff in the sense that, your Senecas are doing raised beadwork. So where is the line here? How come one can do one but now we're asking us not to do those purses, but you can do our historical beadwork? Because historically, Tuscarora and Kanien'kehá:ka were known for raised beadwork. That's our historical whatever.
Mind you, we have to backtrack, because to give the historical part of it is everybody did flat beadwork before.
Yeah.
What it actually looked like differs, yes. And then even before that, people did quill work, or they did moose embroidery, or they did those kind of things. So it's evolving from one thing to now what we have is, and we have a lot of contemporary things happening. Now, I want to say one thing before we go on, because I just had it on the tip of my tongue, and I wanted to say that the person in question, the artist, that was not their post. It was somebody else's post about something somebody made.
Yeah.
So just to lay that on the table, because I think it can be misconstrued that was their opinion, the artist, because it's not their opinion. What you see on there is not the person's opinion.
No,
it's another person's opinion. That's their opinion. So we have to.
But it was an agreement because that the actual artist actually did put out a statement saying,
oh my goodness, I didn't even know.
agreement.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Let's retract that. I didn't even know. And so now I'm going to go doom scroll while she goes, and I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
so
were
let's
in
see.
agreement on it. So for me, I think I had a lot of questions. So here's my questions. And I don't know if they were answered because other people had the exact same questions as, why was it posted in the first place?
Yeah.
Was it because somebody did it and they didn't like that another nation was doing it or different people? So was that where it generated from? Or was it just an opinion? Like, it obviously is just it was his opinion. But yeah, I don't know where it stemmed from. And then my other questions were, what was it that you don't want other people doing? Just those purses? You don't want them being completely replicated? You don't want people doing the line work? You don't want the symbols being done? That's what I didn't understand, I guess, about the post. So that's kind of what got my back up, because I think I probably interpreted a lot of my own or made my own assumptions, because I was like, well, what? I can't do a flat line now. I can't use microbeads. I can't. What is it that you're asking us not to do?
Oh, okay. I get it.
So to me, that's kind of why I got my back up, where I was like, I don't understand though. Like, what is it that you're asking us not to do? Like, is it the symbols? Because you know what? There's every different Ungwahuma people across the world have mountains or they have hills, and there's only so many ways you can depict those things in beads. So are you asking me not to do that anymore? Like, those were the questions I had. I needed clarification. I didn't post anything because I was like, I'm trying to like be a little bit more skana and pause.
So we'll just talk about the beauty podcast.
Yeah.
This is our platform, and like, you know, and everyone is able to say what they want to say. And as I scroll, I see a lot of people have said a lot of things. So
yeah, there were a lot of questions that were put there, and I don't necessarily know if some of them were answered, but whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do believe it kind of not provoked. I mean, like, it just really maybe rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And then I had to also remind myself, like, it is somebody's opinion. It's not the end all be all. Like, I can say, okay, well, now nobody can do raised beadwork. Like, because I'm Ganiak Gahaga, now I don't want any other nation to do raised beadwork. I don't have that right to ask that. Like, I don't have that.
you can have that opinion.
I can have the opinion.
How you're going to enforce or do that, then I guess it's something different. Then I guess I can't. So sorry, buddy. This raised beadwork, this Oneida doing raised beadwork has closed shop. I mean, because that's what it is. That's how it looks or is. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's still a lot to it that it wasn't clarified to me. There's still a lot of loose ends to me. I still don't understand some of it.
I mean, it is a good conversation to have, because here we're having on the conversation. I know that people on, like, I was just scrolling, like I said, had different things to say. Some people were not advocating, not pro, but like were saying, yeah, good job. Like, you know, like, yeah, yes, that's right. In agreement. And some people obviously were not in agreement. So it just depends on what you think. I mean, I liked what the artist made. It's beautiful. I liked it. I loved it on the click, you know. Yeah. When it was posted, it's a beautiful piece. Like, you know, no one can dispute that. How everything else played out, like you said, I don't know. Like, I don't know. The person who posted, I have some of their artwork too, and I think they're a great person, but I don't know. Like, you know, like, I don't know where it's coming from or what's it stemming from. And, you know, frankly, like we both said in the beginning, it was somebody's opinion about something. And we have our own opinion about whatever we want to have our opinions about. And like, yeah, okay, go for it. It just is like, there's, like you said, it's a lot of loose ends, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't have any answers. That's for sure. I'm doing somebody else's beadwork, so yeah. And now everybody else wants to learn how to do center seam. Yeah, interesting.
Well, it is. It was very thought provoking, because now it really, I think, made everyone stop and think and look at, you know, we are under the entire Confederacy, we all consider each other,
Yeah.
like, but somebody had written that like the pan-Indian type of thing where everyone gets lumped into the same thing, and how, so this is the devil's advocate type of thing where every nation does have its own distinct, I guess,
language, obviously.
Language, art forms, things like that. But there were comments in there too that I totally agreed with, where it was like, you know what, in this day and age, we cannot afford to, that word, I hate it.
I know, I thought you were going to say it.
No, but to gatekeep in a sense, like.
There's so many nations like who have intermarried. You know what I mean?
Well, so here, me being like psychotic.
What is this next psychotic? What did you have to
not
say?
Psychotic, but like, so within my, all right. So I was being an ass.
You're being an ass now? So
well, I was then, but now I'm going to talk about my being an ass.
And how you've turned a new leaf?
Not really,
okay,
but...
so here you go. So watch out, whoever.
Because of like the posts and all that, we were saying, like, I don't know where my great-grandfather came from, if he was actually Gunyagahaga or if he was Seneca, because we think that he may have, the Hemlocks are Senecas.
Okay. Yeah.
So, or I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, but to retrace some of the roots, a lot of the Seneca or a lot of Hemlocks are Seneca. And location because of where he was and he came here, whatever. So I was like, wow, I might be Seneca. I'm Seneca, so I'm going to do the first.
Okay.
Like,
Yes. Okay.
But that's what I'm saying is, what you're saying, the
intermixed. So I was looking, this was not related at all to what we're talking. I mean, it's not a direct quote or something about what we had just talked about in terms of there's no correlation between what I'm going to say now.
What we're talking about?
And we're talking about, oh, no, that makes sense. No, that's wrong. My English is wrong. What I'm about to say that I found on the internets, well, it has nothing to do with what was posted, but it's very interesting because it talks about exactly what you just said kind of thing. It says, and this was from an artist on the line, and I'm just going to, their nation, I'm just going to put in, let's say Gunyagahaga, just because it's easier, because this is where we are. So it says, I grew up completely disconnected from my Gunyagahaga heritage. Now, this is somebody else's words directly quoted. And I don't know where it is because it was a fast scroll. So excuse me, whoever the artist is who did this. And it's not my words at all. So I grew up completely disconnected from my Gunyagahaga heritage. Everything I know about beadwork and Gunyagahaga culture has been completely self-taught. So it's almost like that thing, like you say, like, oh, I might have found in my lineage that this is what it is.
Yeah.
And because you never grew up being Seneca, let's
well, yeah, and we don't even really know for real.
Let's just paint a picture like let's just say it. But everyone who's listening and who is related to her, that's not necessarily true. We're just using this as an example.
Yeah.
A social experiment example. And we'll see how many feathers we ruffle. But let's pretend that's what it is, right? Or no, let's use me, because this is actually me. So I am Oneida. My mother's Oneida. And she's also Chippewa. Okay. My father is Hopi and Tewa. Now, I did not grow up in 3 of the communities that I'm from, or the nations. I did not grow up in the Chippewa nation. My grandma was Chippewa, and she knew she was Chippewa, but she grew up as an Oneida. So, but I did not grow up in Hopi community or Tewa community. I knew my family, and the family knows me, and all that kind of stuff. But I did not grow up there, right? Like, that's not where I grew up. I grew up in Oneida and in Ganawage, so that's why I do. Oneida raised beadworker who lives in Ganawage. That's where I learned. So I can say, like, yeah. Now, if I started, let's say, doing, because Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Chippewa, flat beadwork, you know how their designs are very like floral and they're beautiful? It's flat.
And it's different.
And it's flat. They're a lot different. Now, that is technically my heritage, but I have no connection in the sense that I don't know about ceremonies. I don't necessarily know all about all those kind of things, which is kind of sad when you think about it. Anyway, not to say put that under the rug, but that's not where we're taking this. Now, if I started doing that, I'm sure people would be like, what is that person doing? Because I haven't like really said that. I mean, yeah, it's on my Instagram thing, but I'm not like Oneida. You're
not claiming that.
I'm not claiming that, not because I'm not proud, because of course I'm proud of my grandmother. She also grew up Oneida, though, in the sense, well, yeah, in the total sense, she was raised by Oneida. But but it's just nothing that I have a connection to. There's no connection. So I could see people, like if I started doing that, people would feel away. Like somebody, like say there was some kind of something going on and I said, yeah, I'm going to be this. Somebody might feel like, well, some people might say, well, who are you from our community, from the community, like doing that? That's not even you.
Or you're just trying community would.
Or who are you to do what we're supposed to be doing? Or are you getting on the bandwagon or all those kind of things, people say and whatever. And I could understand right now in my mind, if I was doing it, people have a different sense of what that is, right? So I can understand how somebody would feel like very slated in terms of that if somebody was doing something that wasn't necessarily theirs, even though it technically
it's an umbrella of it.
It's part of who they are DNA wise.
Yeah.
But maybe not necessarily lived experience. But even then, like, does that make a difference? There are a lot of artists who have not grown up living that experience in the community, but they might have lived that experience within their household. Like, because like you could live in a big metropolitan city with your family and be practicing whatever it is, but not live in the community. Like that happens all the time. It's unfortunate. It's one of the colonization and all that kind of stuff. So I can see how that's fine. But then some people say some things aren't fine, and I don't understand, and I don't know if I'll ever understand what's okay and what's not okay. And maybe it's, you know what I mean? Like some people get bent out of shape over certain things.
I think because really nobody has, I don't know.
It's so like,
because it's not wishy-washy in a sense we're dismissive, but like, because who is who to say anything. You know, like
the lines are so blurred. That's the thing. Like that's what happened with all this, like,
and that's
invasion and all this other colonial things and whatever and all that. Like the lines are so blurred because that's what they wanted it to be, assimilation.
Yeah, like with going back to all of like what we were talking about, and it ties into that other question that we had. But it's like I thought about that post for a few days because I was like, wow, I never thought of this because I guess we lump each other all into one category, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even though
I'm like, yeah, like duh.
But then I was also thinking of it like, yes, we do have our individuality. You know, everybody has their own things per community. Then I kind of broke it down and looked at it in a sense like Polynesian. I have no idea about their culture though, like, but they're people of like the water and stuff like that. You know, where it's kind of like. I wonder how things work, like with, like for them, they have like their tattoos and stuff like that. Like, can one nation ask the other nation, well, you can't do water tattoo, like you can't do these types because that's what we have, you know, like
I think, but I believe they all, and of course I was there in Bora Bora, but they all have that sense, or it seems like from whatever social media you're watching, that they all are like related. You know what I mean? Like it seems like
that's how we
are. Yeah.
Well, and that's it. I think it's
just from different places. We're all Haudenosaunee because they have different languages. Like, you know, like and like, you know, the Polynesians have different languages, dialects, all that kind of jazz. It's the same thing.
It's the exact same setup. It just.
But when they get together as a group sometimes. Like, you know, like it's like.
Yeah. And that's
it's so nice. It's just like probably when you go to the sing, like, you know, everyone's together at the sing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like that's when people are getting together and they're doing something that helps to lift people's spirits and something that is so cultural and so part of what makes us who we are. Although I don't attend usually because that's not really my jam, but whatever. I'm not really my jam. It's a jam. Anyway. But yeah, so I don't know. It just is so like, it's so sickening. It's so sickening. It just makes me like, oh God, we got to talk about this. Like, who wants to talk about that?
But I think it's important, though.
Yeah.
I think it is important to look at it because it was very thought-provoking. It was very knee-jerk reactions from a lot of people. A lot of people felt, I think because it felt limited. Like, it felt like I'm being, you know, reading that.
What do you call that when it's like
confined almost, like now I'm like being put into
excluded, almost like it's more about being excluded from that rather than feeling like it's confined. It's like no one can come in kind of thing.
Like you can't do this and whatever, you know. So, and then I'm going to say this part, you know, it may or may not offend anybody, but I'm going to say it too because it was one person's opinion. And he wrote it based off of kind of probably with somebody else in mind, because he spoke about another artist who is doing these things. And for me, the way I looked at it, I automatically like it almost put like a target on that person's back.
That's what I thought too.
That's how I felt, because that artist didn't put that statement out on their own at first.
Yeah.
And they are in agreement, which is fine.
And I looked and
But yeah.
I didn't know until today.
Yeah. But my reaction right away was I looked at all of their work, all of the artists' work. Like, you are now asking me, I can't do this. Well, now I'm going to look at what you do.
Oh.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Because now I was like, I feel like it was like a double standard now.
Okay.
It's like, okay, you don't want me to do this, but now I'm going to look at this artist. Well, this artist is doing moose tufting. This artist is doing raised beadwork, but you're Seneca. That's not historical to you, you know? So that was my reaction at first. Like, that's right away when I first felt everything, I was mad. And that was how I reacted to all of it. And that's how I felt. Like, it kind of put a target on that person at first, you know, whatever. But yeah, I just found it.
I thought some of his things were like some of the things I'll agree with you in terms of like the target thing. I think that it did seem like it was like when you first read it and you have to, like, if you're reading it fast, it's hard. There's a lot of information. So I thought, it kind of feels like excluding, like this only belongs to us or whatever. But then also some of the points are good points. Like what you were talking about, like we do have to be cautious or even know historically. I think that's for me, like that's what I kind of took away from it is like, I don't know a lot of the history of beadwork in general. And I've never claimed to, because that's not really what I'm interested in. Yeah. But I thought that was important. Like, it is good to know, of course. So some things I agreed with. Some things I was just like, man, that's like, but like you said, it's their opinion. I wouldn't put it out there. I don't know. I wouldn't feel comfortable because I wouldn't have, I just wouldn't feel comfortable that putting something like that out there, I guess.
It was bold because it was a very bold statement that we're not used to seeing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But it was very interesting to read. Let me tell you. I mean.
And honesty, I was like, I had questions, but like I said, I'm learning how to pause and wait and not react. Like, because a lot of times, like I am a reactionary person. So I am learning to just shut my mouth first and think about things. So, and that's why I did discuss it with some people. And like, that's because some of it's not wrong. Like I will, you know, some of it's not wrong because like, then we were thinking about like when you and Garhone got married, you had on your Oneida
dress.
And if we like, I was talking with someone else, I won't name her, but that's what she was saying. We were talking about that. Like there are distinctions in some of the things that we do. So, but it's like that. It's like a blurred line. Like if we all walked into Ganusesne wearing
Oneida dresses,
or exactly. Then how could you tell who's who?
Yeah. And somebody else said that too. I think it was it at the Longhouse? I think it was something, but I think we were at a Longhouse doing something. And I think that's what they said. An older person said that to somebody else, and then it was relayed, like just in like passing, you know, like that's the reason why, like even the Gustoa has three different, every nation has a different, a different feather count, or how it's laid out, the feathers and stuff like that. So yeah, for sure, like it makes sense, like
distinction. But then it's this blurred line kind of thing, where it's kind of like
and and I would never say like, you know, well, who am I even to say? I'm not even Unganyangahaga. Well, I do have ancestry. I do know. I have the tree, and we do have ancestry.
See that tree? No.
Well, it's from Six Nations, so I don't know if it makes it any better or any worse. I don't know, like whatever. But so anyway, but we all come from the same place. That's the thing, is like, even if you said you're from Oswego, or even if you said you're from like Wisconsin, Oneida, or we all
branch into the same
family, large area, not the same place, but the same area. And so,
but and it's just what I was thinking too, because it's kind of like I said, I was thinking very long and hard, and there is no right or wrong answer. There's agreeing, disagreeing, you know. I agree and I disagree with parts of it, you know. So that's what I was thinking too, where it was like, okay, you can ask that as, a nation could turn around and say, okay, well, this is our stuff now. Like Senecas could stop and say, okay, well, this is what we did. We are asking. But then now it kind of starts that, well, you're going to do that. Well, then I'm going to ask now. As Ganyagehaga, I'm going to say our nation is now asking nobody else can do raised beadwork except for the Tuscaroras because that was also theirs. And then there creates a divide again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't have an answer to any of this, but these are all the thoughts that were going through my head. And I was like, going on back and forth on both sides. Like, well, if I agreed with this statement, then what does it look like here? And if I disagree, well, what does that mean? So,
and like I do flat work. That's like my best. That's the thing I love to do best is micro beads flat work.
Yeah.
So I can see like, people who are doing that and reading that statement. And I didn't really take it that way because like, frankly, I want to say I don't really care. Like I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm not hurting anybody, I don't think. And if I was hurting somebody, I would hope that person would be able to tell me because then that we could have a conversation about that. That would be fine too. But like I do that. But then I think it was on somebody's post or I don't know who it. Somebody said, we can't use microbeads anywhere more.
Yeah.
But that's not what it said, but that's where it takes people.
Yeah, that's where it feels like it goes.
It goes, and then somebody...
That's what the loose threads, because that's what I needed the clarification. Yeah. What is it that you don't want the shapes of the purse? You don't want the purse in its entire form?
Yeah.
Is it all the symbols that are being used?
Yeah.
Is it the micro beads? What is it that you don't want anyone else to do? That's because there's a whole
And did
breakdown.
they say they don't want? Is that really what they said?
Because it wasn't right.
Oh, this wasn't right.
It wasn't right if other nations were I'm not. Don't quote me word for word.
That's why I was just like, I don't know. I haven't read it since that came out, and I was told like, hey, you should. Did I text you or you text me?
I texted you. I was like, did you see this? I don't know. I was like, I was, and then I waited because, like I said, I'm pausing and waiting, and nobody else had an opinion about it, and I was like, am I just an asshole?
And then we and then we had a conversation about it over text. And then it was a few days later, somebody wrote it. And then you said, hey, did you see the post? And I was like, what?
Because I was like, okay, like other people.
I said, she's not my friend.
Yeah. Because I wasn't sure. I was like, am I the only one having like a weird reaction to this?
Yeah.
And then once I seen other people had all different views and all different opinions, I was like, okay, all right, there's a conversation here. There's a discussion about.
Yeah.
So we made it through because we were both kind of like,
did we talk about this? People were asking about it.
I wanted to talk about it because I do like these types of discussions, even though they can get heated because they are people's opinions, and it is what it is. Everyone's allowed their own opinion. Everyone can agree to disagree, whatever. It is what it is. But these are our opinions. These are our views. In the end,
this is our platform.
Yeah, it's our platform, and I think like how I feel about it is I don't really agree.
With the broad statement, with the
general of it all, because then it puts, to me, it creates a divide in a sense, and he has his right to ask that. That's fine, but you also have to be aware of the backlash that it could create, and some of the comments like, well, then I don't want to see you doing this, you know, like flat out, and that's what it is, So it is what it is, but they're, whatever. I agree and I disagree. That's it.
With that, because I think it's important to also look at this question and talk about it, because it kind of speaks to maybe why people do what they do. Maybe it says, what role does beadwork play in your personal or community's healing and well-being?
Oh, that's a good segue into a new.
Yes. So what roles does beadwork play in your personal or community's healing and well-being?
So we were discussing some of these little things in the car beforehand. For some people, beading can be their connection to their community when they're not part of community. It could be their connection when they are in community. It's just their outlet, their contribution, I guess. I look at it in my realm or whatever, and this is what I know, this is what I've learned because I've taught it, because this is my interests.
Yeah.
So now I'm reteaching it. because I enjoy it, like because I enjoy to teach. Well, sometimes, but I enjoy teaching.
Yeah.
I enjoy giving back because I can, you know, those kind of things. So those are my healing, you know, and it helps other people too,
Yeah.
because, you know, we're still dealing with all of the, you know, whatever colonialism and everything, like as much as like sometimes we're not always aware of it, but we still carry a lot
choose
of,
not to.
yeah.
We choose not to look at it.
Yeah, but individually,
yeah.
like a lot of times we still do have a lot of that, like the shame or the
guilt sometimes of not knowing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not knowing
whatever aspect of being whatever it is. Yeah. Or that.
So, and some people do it in different forms where like language, some people that's their niche. Like they're
passionate. They are out there and they are,
Or like these guys where it's like history, you know, they're good at those kind of things. So those are people's ways of, to me, I look at it like they're reconnections to who they are.
Yeah.
You know, part of their healing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like when I think about that question, I think about it always pops out in my mind, and my mother talks about it, is when Jessica and Niece's Accessories during COVID had that first beadwork challenge, and it said like community on it or whatever, and I thought about that, and it was like a healing in the sense and the well-being, like people was trying to get their spirits up, trying to keep themselves busy during the COVID and all that kind of stuff. So I always think about that, like that is one thing that people do. Like you said, like when you talk personally about sharing what you know how to do and having classes and different things like that, I look at that like a direct way of like positive love, you know, because family members are taking classes, whether it's for like graduations or different things, and they're gifting things to other people. And it's another form of like, you know, like I spent time doing this for you. It was hard work. Some people are crying. Some people are swearing. Some people don't want to do it, as I read in your post, complaining or whatever. But they complete it, and people are and those who receive it, hopefully and most likely, are very appreciative of the time and effort and love that they put into doing this, you know, especially if it's one of their family members who is doing it, you know. So I think of it that way too. And I think it has a lot to do with like some people who might have struggles, maybe feeling confident or even having maybe instability in their lives, and it's something that they can count on and be proud of themselves that they're able to do this art form, hopefully. And so I think about it that way. I think for me, I don't know, what role does people my well-being. I've kind of taken a step back from it because I've stopped the shows this year, and I think that's really good. I don't have any like it's not a beer's block kind of deal. Like usually you people stop because they're like, I can't do it. It's just that I'm like focusing on my work and on language, not necessarily my language acquisition, but just being in that headspace of like work and language.
Yeah.
And I'm doing one project, which is a gift for my nephew for his graduation. And it's flat work, and I'm really enjoying it because it's just flat. And that's what I like to do, just flat and size 11 beads. And it's just designs and just lines. And I really like that. And so I think it's just something that helps me, I guess. Before it used to be like busy. I think I'm finding something new about beadwork now, that it's not competitive, and not to say that it's competitive. It was competitive before, competitive more with myself. But I want to tell this story. I got accepted to another art show after I had canceled the last two, and not applied to one. I got accepted, and I said I wasn't going to. Before I found out I got accepted, I said I wasn't going to do it, and I wanted to, and I was going to tell the show people. Before I could tell the show people, they had already sent the application. And I already canceled my Airbnb. But I found something. I you know, nobody wants to say, it's ego driven. Nobody wants to say that. But I found myself in my mind going that way. And so I found out that I got in, and for like one day, maybe even 2 hours, I don't know, for like a little while, like not very long, I thought, hey, I could just go. Yeah. I could whip up something great that I thought was great for myself. Not that anybody else would think it was great, but I thought I could fit something great, and I could go and I could, like, you know, either sell it or whatever, or win or whatever. That's what I thought. And as soon as I started to think that way, something changed a bit. Like, Leith, don't do it. Like, you're going down that spiral of things, like, you know, because I'm a competitive.
It's a different mode.
Yeah. And I am a competitive person. Sometimes it's my own fault. But I've never been really that way with beadwork. like competitive, like to go somewhere. Like, oh my God, I got to win. No, I've always wanted to win for myself, and I competitive about doing my projects. But this is the first time I had that thought that, yeah, I could go. Maybe I could win something. And so it was really weird because I never had that before, because I was just like, I gotta try to make some best things of myself, my things that'd be so great for me and like the next best thing. But then it was like, no, I want to just go to this show. I'll just whip something up and then go. And I thought that is wrong. Like for myself, I thought that is wrong because it was all ego based.
Yeah.
And my work, I want to do the best I can do, but I'm not like trying to do it so that I'm better than somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get it, because I am also I'm extremely competitive to the point where like when we went to Ganondagan, even there, like I get competitive with myself, but it is also in a sense where like if I'm going to a show, I'm going to win.
Okay. Really?
Yeah. Because in anything that I do because it becomes like, even though it's not a sport, it's that
I know it. I know.
Way.
Yeah. I know
because
that part.
I'm an athlete, and when I play something, I'm playing to win. I'm not playing. Yeah. It's nice.
You're not messing around.
Yeah. No. And it's just the way it is. Like, that's just the way my brain works. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to go crazy. Like, but yeah, I'm going to work my ass off to win. And it's the same in beadwork, unfortunately. Like, that part of my brain will still take over. And to me, it becomes like a sport. Like, no. Like, and that's when...
But to win or to the... See, because my brain works the same way as yours, I think. But it's like I don't go to win, because I've been some places and I sure as hell ain't winning, because there's some awesome people there. But I go there with the best thing that I know I can make, like in that moment. Like, but it's not to win. It's because I want to show the best that I have. It's, you know what I mean? Like it sounds like the same thing, but it's
no.
Not,
I get it. I get it.
But you want to win.
I want to win.
Okay.
Like that's, it's like psychotic. I know, but it becomes, and that's kind of why I in a sense, because I do know how you feel. Like you get this remorseful feeling where I'm like, God, like just chill the hell out. Like the hell's wrong with you? Like, and I have to keep myself in check because I look at it like this. This was, I'm not going to lie, this is what went through my mind. I won first place at Ganondagan. If I go back there, I have to win best in show next time. That's how my brain will work, automatic, because the competitive nature comes in, and that's, but like you said, it takes away from the entire experience, because and then it puts so much pressure on yourself.
Yeah, for damn sure. Like,
so I have to keep myself in check in a lot of it, because
and then who else is going to, right? Like you have to do it.
Yeah, because it's kind of like you have to ask yourself, like, what are you really going there for? What kind of experience are you really going there for? And it is actually really good to go and lose, like, or not lose, not that you're losing anything, but not to place, because it's very humbling. Like I lucked out. I did one show and I won. Like that doesn't mean that's always going to happen. You know what I mean? But to me, that competitive drive comes in where I'm like, okay, if I'm going and I'm going to win right away. So, I kind of stop myself sometimes, because I'm like, you're just getting psychotic. Like, just chill the hell out. Like, I don't know, but I get it. I get where your mind's going.
Yeah. It's interesting though, because when you're talking about that, I could feel myself like, oh yeah, like because that's one of the reasons why I watch competitive things when I do beaver. Like I watch, like you call that, Formula One. It's because it's a competition, right? And that's the thing. And I feel that, because I feel that adrenaline. I feel all that kind of stuff when I'm doing something like, oh, I can't believe this is going to be so awesome. I love this. It's really taking me out of my comfort zone, whatever. I'm going to bring it. So, and I always say nobody's going to like it probably, or whatever, or whatever. At least I always say, at least I like it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lie either. I've won some pretty big prizes in my day. Like I'm talking as if I'm never going to do a show again, but who knows? They say go out when you're on top kind of thing. No. Yeah. But I've won some pretty big prizes, and I've had that. I have that, like, what do you call that?
It's like bigger and bigger.
That thought, bigger and better.
Yeah.
But I've thought about that, because some people are like, oh my goodness, now you got to come back and you got to do something else. And I'm like, well,
do I?
I don't really know. I want to do whatever, because you kind of have to make something that's like better than what you last did, right? But the kicker is the judges aren't always the same.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what other people are making.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's not an even playing field because you don't know other people are bringing. You just have to, and that's why I say you just have to do the best thing that you can and that you're proud of and that really like showcases you, you know, and I think. And so I'm proud of that.
Mm-hmm.
Luck is always, I mean, I guess I'm not sure if it's luck, but I've always come up on top in what I thought, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel good about that. So it's hitting, like my best is hitting other places.
Mm-hmm.
So that's okay.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, if I really tried, I'd probably do well. I would hate to say, if I really tried to do something really competitive, it'd probably be a stinker because
I think because it's where it's coming from.
And the pressure, like you say, is, I mean, there's enough pressure as it is trying to do the best work I can in 1 month, along with everything else that I do to myself. But yeah, it's just, I think
it's hard because it creates like an arrogance as well. Like, because it is very arrogant of me to think like, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to do this.
But you might actually do that. So
and
like,
I might,
it
might not.
It could be
you know
true.
What I mean?
You know?
But it could be, but it is arrogant to believe that as well, to be like, I guess in some ways, like when you do compete, you need a little bit of.
Well, yeah, because you're putting yourself out there because you don't have to. The majority, like a lot of the, I'm not sure if it's all the shows. I think there are some shows where you have to compete and you have to be a vendor, but there's some shows you don't have to compete at all. You can just be an artist at the market and you don't have to put in the competition. So that's fine, you know. Like, but for me, I go and I want to. If I'm bringing my best thing, I'm not just going there to do like some little things at a thing. I could do that on the internet, right?
Yeah.
So when I go, I'm going to do my best thing and I'm going to just send it and see where it goes, where it lands. And thankfully it lands next to some kick-ass beadwork. And I'm like, oh my God, my stuff is on the table just next to that person. I can't believe it. You know, and that's cool. That's really cool when you see somebody awesome.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, my little thing is just sitting there amongst all these people. You know, whether it has a ribbon on it or not, my thing, it's still like, man, can you believe I'm actually in like the company of like some great people? And in the room with all these other people who are trying to show their best stuff too. So it's that's pretty interesting. So
I
might get back there someday. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully this was informative and inspiring and a little bit of chuckles and a little bit of things to think about, really, about like what your opinion is. And maybe you share our opinion or maybe you don't. And that's totally cool. Write us and drop us a line. Like we'd be interesting to hear. Like we don't often.
I definitely would be like, I even like,
welcome.
Yeah. But like, I had my hair did yesterday. Yeah. But I was amongst two other beaters.
Okay.
And I knew we were coming here, and I knew that those questions were asked.
Yeah.
So I was even asking because I genuinely am interested in these kind of conversations. Yeah. Like, whether I agree or disagree, I do still like the thought-provoking discussions. You know. So I was even asking at the hair salon, like, all right, what do you think about this, and what's your opinion? And you know, because I find it helps you to grow in your own thoughts.
Yeah,
because,
for sure.
You know, like that. Like, of course, when you see something, you react to it, and it's just one driven way. So discussions can recreate, you know, views and whatever. So that's kind of what I like to do. Like, I like to see and hear all angles, whether sometimes I don't like to hear somebody else's angle because like, then I have to admit, okay, yeah, you're right. Like, you know, then I have to be wrong, which I don't like to be, you know, so, but, so, yeah, it would be nice to hear from other people.
Just to give you a little update, in case those who were listening to the last podcast didn't hear, Ganawaga is hosting the Haudenosaunee Beadwork Conference in September. It's from the 18th to the 21st. It's a Friday to a Sunday. Yes. We're advertising it so that people can, like, maybe when the registrations happen, that they can start making plans. There is already a venue secured. The caterer is done. I'm talking like this because I sit on the
committee. On
the committee for the organization of the Beadwork Conference. There is also hotels in the area where there is rooms are vetted, meaning we've gone to those places and seen to make sure there were good accommodations for those who are interested. And also just to like remind people that Margaret or Degaryako and I will be at the Beadwork Conference we will be doing a podcast from there on the stage, I believe, for all to hear with a listening audience, and maybe questions from the audience, if that's even possible. That'd be so awesome, where we can discuss different things. People can, or we were discussing is maybe during the registration or leading up to the actual conference, we, the committee of the conference, would send out different things like prepare yourself, bring your whatever you got to bring, like supplies and whatever, but also have ready or forward a question for those hosts of the beading table, so that we could maybe process some questions beforehand to have like a starting off point for that, so that those who are registered
smoothly.
So those who are registered will have an opportunity to have maybe a question they were thinking about said if they don't have a chance to get to the mic or whatnot. So we're going to try that. But yeah, so we have some interesting ideas and different things. And yeah, so just letting people know, if you want to see us live, oh my God, it's so crazy. See live. Then get your registration in for the Beadwork Conference, which hasn't happened yet, but will be posted on social media. So that's that. So with that being said, it's very dark outside and we are going to say our goodbyes. So nyawa everybody for listening. And we hope you have a good rest of the month, and take a little time at the beading table and get some work done. Ona.
The views and opinions of the guests expressed in this podcast do not reflect those of Wase and its employees.